guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a step-by-step tutorial using this palette, the Natural Love palette by Too Faced. I had done a survey at my beauty group asking what palettes my members would like me to use when I'm filming, and my friend Cindy asked for an everyday look filmed with the Natural Love palette. I promise I won't go into a rant about Too Faced. I'm going to do what I can with this, but I will tell you the names of the shadows and how they perform while I'm using them. So let's get to work. As you can see, I have my foundation, highlighter, bronzer, blush, and eyebrows done in advance. I also have my eyes primed with Painterly Paint Pot by MAC, and I'm just going to go ahead and take a very light matte. Hello, Marley. My doggy decided to join us back there. I'm going to use a matte white color to set my primer. I'm going to go with Heaven, which is up here in this upper left-hand corner. And I'm just going to use that from lid all the way up to brow bone. As you can see, probably I already have a very frosty shade on my inner corner. I had some difficulty with my concealer today for some reason. I never have any problems with Tarte Shape Tape, but I don't know, maybe my under eye was extra dry or whatever. But in order to make it look a little bit less crepey, I went ahead and put some MAC nylon in my inner corner. But I'll probably use something else there out of this actual palette. What really drew me to this palette was all the pinks. If you guys know anything about me, you know my favorite color is pink. And Pink and Sparkly is even better. And so that's when I saw this palette, I thought, oh, look at all those pinks. That's my palette heaven all in one. So anyways, I'm going to start off with this pink matte shade called Lace Teddy and a BH Cosmetics 101 blender. And I'm just going to use that as a beginning transition color all over my crease.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight.
Okay, next I'm going to go in with a Morphe M513 into the shade Honey Butter right here. And I'm going to put this on one side of my brush and then flip my brush over and go right into the crease, but only to really accentuate and define the upper crease, not going down onto the lid much.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you.
And deepen the upper crease even a little bit more. I'm going to go in with the Coastal Scents BR250, which is a smaller blender, and I'm going to go into the shade Nudie. I'm going to kind of do the same thing, put it on one side of the brush, turn it over. I'm going to concentrate that on the outer edge and then pull it in. Probably 2/3 of the way.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight,
always start off with an all over light color, then I move into the crease with a lighter transition color, then I deepen the crease with a mid-tone color, and then at that point I usually go and do my lower lash line work, and then I deal with the lid and inner corner. That's just kind of the order I do things in almost all of my eye looks, so I'm doing the same thing today. My favorite brush for lower lash line is Morphe E36. You'll see me using this all the time because it's kind of like a pencil brush, but it's not tapered and pointed at the end. It's also very soft, and it doesn't feel like you're dragging something very scratchy along your lash line. So I'm going to go ahead and forego the lighter colors and go right into Honey Butter. I think I'm sticking my fingernail into black. It's really hard to hold these up without digging your fingers into something. I'm going to go ahead and go into Honey Butter, and I'm going to use that to define my lower lash line using this Morphe E36.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized.
And since that did define it, but I don't think that it defined it enough, I'm going to go ahead and go into Nudie and do the same thing, but this time I'm just going to pull across 2/3 of the way.
Open eye.
Okay, that kind of gives a little bit of a smoky look to the bottom lash line. At this point, the reason I was so excited about this palette is if you'll look, there are like all these different various shades of pink sparkle. And I'm all about the pink sparkle life, right? So the problem is every time I've used them, I've had very little color payoff. And I get frustrated with that because they are so beautiful. I want them to look on my eye like they look in the pan. And I've had trouble with that. But I haven't tried to use them wet. So today I'm going to do just that. I don't even know which one I want to use. I mean, there are lots of directions you can take at this point on your lid. If you want to do something a little bit darker and smoky, you could go into something like Love Bug, which is kind of a misty purple, a darker one. You could go into Tickle Me, which is kind of a a lighter version of that. You can go way dark into these outside ones, which I ordinarily don't do. There's another really pretty, more mauve-y color, which is called Push Up here. There's a very pinky color called Bunny Nose. And then there's all these shades of light pink. I really want today to use a pink that actually looks pink. And so the closest ones for that are Bunny Nose and Satin Sheets. I'm going to go for Bunny Nose just because I really want the pink to show through. I think that's the highlight of this palette, and I want it to perform that way. So I'm going to try the MAC Fix Plus. I'm going to try the MAC Fix Plus and the MAC 242 brush, and that's the best foundation for getting something out of a shimmer shadow that you're not getting any pigment from, is trying it this way. If it doesn't work this way, then it's probably just not going to. So I always start with shimmer. Good gravy. Seriously, you guys. I cannot talk about 90% of the time. I usually start with a shimmer shade, almost always with my finger, because good pigmentation comes with your finger as well. So if you start off with that as the foundation and then go over it with the wet MAC 242 or any concealer type brush, really flat concealer type brush with a setting spray, MAC Fix Plus, something like that. MAC Fix Plus. Then you're going to get the best pigmentation out of it. So I'm going to go for Bunny Nose and go ahead and put that on my lids with my finger.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me.
That showed up a little bit better than it has in the past. and I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I'm using a new palette, sometimes I have to get down in there, before, like really dig down in there before I get the color payoff. So I'm happy that it's a little bit better this time than the last time. I tried to use this on my niece at my niece's wedding, and it just didn't show up at all. It's really difficult to use fingers on somebody else's eyes. And so I was merely using brushes, entirely using brushes. But I have gone and loaded my brush on my MAC 242, and I'm going to spritz it a little bit with Max Fix Plus, which smells so good. I love the way that smells. And then I'm going to go in, and I always kind of like to start in the inner corner and pull it a little bit up into my crease just to combat my hooded area. I don't know, wetting this is kind of giving it a weird texture. So I'm trying to smooth it out.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight.
I think that did help intensify the color a bit and help it show up just a little bit better. This eye, I think I need to still add a little bit more and smooth that out. All right, guys, as a final little step here, I would like a really bright inner corner. And like I told you, I kind of have something there, but I was looking at this really beautiful shade right here called Fairy Tale. And that would be a beautiful light champagne gold inner corner with this look if it'll show up. So I'm going to go in with my Coastal Scents BRC N09, which is just kind of a pointed tapered brush. And I'm going to go in there dry and see what happens. See if it shows up at all. And it is, and it's a little bit chunky, with some chunks of glitter, but it's pretty. But I still think I want more. So I'm gonna spray my brush on this step too. And if you guys don't know, that is one thing that you can do, and I've already kind of said that. That's one thing that you can do to get some more pigmentation out of your shimmer shades. If they're not showing up for you the way that you want them to, your best bet is to wet your brush. Sometimes it works, sometimes it still doesn't work, but once you've already dished out the dinero for the palette, you want to use whatever tricks you can to make it work for you. So I wet this, and it is showing up, but in a very weird patchy way that I don't love. So I'm going to try to salvage this by getting more shadow on there and kind of filling in the gaps where it kind of patched out on me. But I think I'm going to have to go with that, guys, and leave well enough alone because it is bright and it is glittery. And so let's leave it at that. So that is basically how I would interpret using this palette. It's got beautiful pinks and mauves and those kind of colors. And like I said, I did the best I could to make the shadows that didn't work very well for me before work better for me today, and they did. And so I'm really happy with this. I'm going to go back through with my very beginning BH Cosmetics brush. I'm just going to run along and make sure that's all nicely blended in, and it is. As a final step, I'm going to go in with that same MAC 242. I've cleaned it with my color switch, but I want to go into a really light shimmer shade. And the one that looks the best to me for that purpose is Poodle right here. So I'm not going to use a wet brush or anything because I just want this to be a very subtle right underneath the arch area, to have a little bit of a brow bone highlight with a little bit of shimmer. And when I do shimmer, I usually place it and then I kind of run my finger along it just to melt it in and move it along. But I like it that way. And then I'll take that blender that I had the pink on, which was this, put a little bit more of that lace teddy on it and go right around the outside, just making sure that that pink is showing a little bit, and it just makes sure there's no harsh lines in between the brow bone and the rest of the shadow. So I think this is really pretty. I like how it turned out. I'm going to go put on some eyeliner and mascara. Just for the sake of saving time, I'm going to do that off camera, and I'll come back to show you what it looks like after I'm done with all that. Alright guys, I'm back. I did my eyeliner and some mascara. Since Cindy asked for an everyday look, I did not use any lashes today, even though the eyeliner that I put on was ready to put lashes on afterward. But I wanted you guys to see what it looked like without lashes. These are just my sad little piddly natural eyelashes. But in general, on a daily basis, when I go to work, I absolutely don't wear lashes to school, obviously. I don't have time for that, nor is it necessary. So this is kind of what I look like whenever I do an everyday look. So I wanted you to see the authentic thing. So here's a close-up of the final look. I hope you guys liked what I came up with. I think it did turn out nice, and I feel better about the Natural Love palette. Maybe I'll pick it up a little bit more often. So even though I was doing this for you guys, it kind of benefited me as well, just to make myself take another look at it and try to find a way for some other shades that weren't working for me before, a way to make them work for me now. So that was cool. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. As always, thank you so much for joining me for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it, and I hope you were at least entertained. So if you enjoyed the video, I sure hope you'll give me a thumbs up, and I hope if you haven't subscribed already, I hope you'll do that before you leave. But until next time, folks, I love you very much, and I hope you have a great day. See you next time. Bye, guys. Asking my members there what they would like, Alright guys, I feel like I have my foundation down with my matte colors. I always start my eye looks with foundational matte colors to just kind of give an overlay of white or a flesh color. Then go in with a light crease, a light transition color. Okay, start over. Just a really very soft a shimmer, but not. Take two. Oh, I will forget this someday. I know I will. But anyway, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Dun, 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 dun. It's a wrap. Oh, Lord.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized